All right, good afternoon, everybody, or good morning if you're on the left coast. This is Greg with Recruitment Headquarters. We're a company that handles employer branding and job posting, and I'm here with Dan Molloy.
Hi, guys.
Dan runs the Molloy Sales Development Group. They help different companies boost their sales, help them work on speaking to clients and gaining more clients. And we're here today to talk about the language of commitment, how we can go ahead and help you hire more people, hire higher quality people, train them, get them selling faster, have them sell more clients by getting them committed to your company, and retain more employees.
Yep. Very good. Welcome,
Dan, why
everybody.
don't you talk a little bit about how your company does that?
Yeah, we are the basis of Molloy Sales Development Group is that everything happens in language. Every result in life, in business, whether you're hiring people, training people, you're selling, or you want to retain people, it all happens in the conversations that you have with them. It happens with the language. We call it language of commitment. And the key mover in all of it is the notion of commitment, making commitments, exchanging commitments with other human beings, whether they be customers or prospective employees. It's all about language, communication, and specifically commitment. That's what produces results. And so what I do with my company is we help companies, CEOs and owner-operators and managers get in touch with and realize that every number that they're looking at on their P&L and their KPI reports or whatever analytics they look at, all of that data is tied to moments in time when people were communicating. Okay, so it's very important to understand language. It's really important to have a model for effective communication inside your business. What does it mean to communicate effectively? It's a great question,
Dan, why don't you flip to the next slide? I want to talk a little bit about why it's so important and how it can change your business and your hiring model.
So, yeah, this is a great slide, Greg. I love it. Here's what I've discovered. I've been studying language and communication inside companies for 21 years, okay? And analyzed more than 1 million conversations, business conversations, word by word, line by line. True. I don't know. We have a passion for analyzing conversations. So here's what I've realized, right? When you show up on the job every morning to run your company, to run your department, run your business, run your life, you have to choose between two oceans to swim in. One ocean, the one on the left, crowded. The water is filled with sharks too. Next time, Greg, we have to put sharks in the water out there because it's a lot of competition. Lots of competition in the one market. I call this the digital world. This is the age of information. That's what it looks like right here. Everybody is slogging it out for the past 20, 30, 40 years in the information age. We're immersed in it. I mean, it's just there's no breathing room. Right. What I observed in analyzing all these conversations for business for our clients is that what's missing in this digital age is the whole idea, the whole notion of commitment, just missing completely. However, when we work with clients and we help clients become commitment-based organizations, all of a sudden they start swimming in a different ocean. They're no longer competing on price. They're no longer competing on information. They're no longer think they have to have the latest and most up-to-date information. It's not about that. Customers want and need commitment. So the sooner that a company becomes a commitment-based organization, the sooner they can swim in nice blue ocean with no sharks. It's not crowded. And it is just an amazing, amazing experience to go through. And the growth can be astronomical because what customers want, or what everybody wants, is like we said before, they want you to make a commitment to them.
And Dan, this isn't just about your sales operation, where that's where people think about this competition and fighting for space. The hiring market is so tense, and there's so many people that want the highest quality employees. And while you're sitting at your desk looking through applicants, there's somebody right on the other side of the street that's hoping to get the same employee. And right now businesses are fighting for space on that crowded beach, talking about data points, this piece of benefit that we offer, or that piece of salary. And really, we're hoping that you can transform your relationship and the possibility of hiring people from being a numeric data-driven relationship to a commitment-based one, where
Yes.
people are attached to you, and it's really not a competition between you and somebody else. It's all about the relationship that you can build with a potential new employee to gain their trust and gain them motivated to work for you.
Yeah, no, absolutely, 100%, Greg, right on. The whole idea, the notion of commitment, from a sales perspective, of course, the customers in touch with your business want you to commit to them, right? That's really important. But the new prospective employees are looking for the same thing. They're in a way, they're customers as well, right?
Yeah. Dan, why don't we go to the next slide and talk a little bit about what it means, what commitment means. People talk about that all the time. What does it mean to start to commit to people? Like, how do I do that? If I have a business, how do I start committing to people? How do I change the culture that's really data-driven right now and change to a commitment-based culture?
It's a great question, Greg. You didn't ask it like that before, by the way. No, I think that we have to go back and understand what language is all about, and really take a look at what does it mean? What does it even mean to make a commitment as a starting point? We talk about it all the time. A lot of people talk about commitment. What does it mean to make a commitment? Is that kind of like what you're driving at here, Greg?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. All right. So good. Great question. My claim is that being able to make commitments by design is the ticket, the key move. I call it power move. So I was on the phone all morning training people, coaching. I call it power sales training, and the whole focus on it is teaching people how to generate commitment, how to cause commitments to occur. Okay, here's what a commitment is. A commitment is a declaration in time. Declaration in time. I'll give you an example. 1961, Rice University, President JFK, President Kennedy stands up at Rice University in front of several thousand people and declares to the world, we choose to go to the moon. Gave a great speech. I recommend strongly that you go listen to it on YouTube. It's short. We choose to go to the moon. We choose to go to the moon. That's the declaration. Then he added the time element. This decade. We're going to the moon this decade, right? And that set everything in motion. 1969, the summer of 1969, I remember when we landed on the moon. What set it in motion was one speech. One commitment made by one man set that thing in motion. If Kennedy had gotten up and said, we choose to go to the moon, we choose to go to the moon, and didn't follow it up with the time element, people would have thought he was nuts. Crazy. What's wrong with our president? It's like people who want to get in really good shape say, oh yeah, I'm gonna get in good shape. That's the declaration. But without following it up, say, look, you know what I did? I hired Mike. He's my coach. I'm gonna meet with him every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday down at the gym, and we're gonna work out. 6 o'clock. I'm on a 6-week program to get in maximum shape in 6 weeks. It's a different quality to that because you made the declaration, you have a coach and you have it in time and you know exactly what's going to happen when. Right? And so from a business perspective, customers want to know how we're going to take care of them and when. Employees, new hires want to know, what's in this for me? And so from a new hire perspective, it might be, okay, here's the job, here's the job description, here's the vision for the future, the mission that we have, that we're on as a company. And this is where we plan to be in 2 years, in 3 years, in 4 years. And we're inviting you to come along with us. And if you do come along with us, this is what you're going to get. Well, what you're going to get, the detail, the data, everybody has that. That's being on the beach with a million other people. Everybody has a list of what the job, the data. It's just like in sales. Everybody has a list of the features and benefits. That's not the point. The point is, as a recruiter, as an owner-operator, you got to look your people in the eye and declare we're going to the moon. And we're going to do it this year, next year, whatever. But the time element. And I want you to come along with us. You see, so it's very important. Teach people how to make declarations in time.
And Dan, people think about, if you're a recruiter or you own a business, think about your hiring program as being the self-contained thing. I need to work on my hiring program. And when you're a sales manager, you think about, well, I got to work on my sales process or my sales program. If I'm a trainer, I got to train. And, I'm the GM, I need to retain people, but they're really not separate. They're all actually part of this overarching culture that you want to have inside your business.
Yes.
Of committing to the employees, where the employees commit to potential clients and present clients, and this kind of overarching ability to tell people and communicate, exactly where we're all going to get together and how we're going to do it and when we're going to do it. And it just drives everything. So it's all actually one piece.
Greg, it is, but it's even bigger than that. Watch, here's what I mean. People, that's us, right? And everybody you come in contact with has a biological need for committed relationships. Biological need, right? And so I use this analogy. If you think back to the day when you were a caveman, right? And you were wandering around the jungles or the savannah by yourself. One day you're out by yourself and you're wandering around the savannah, right? You come across the lion. The lion eats you every time. They kill you and they have a nice meal. But human beings don't operate alone. We don't do that. We have a biological need for commitment. So what do? You don't go hunting alone. You don't do anything alone. You have a hunting party. You get a group of guys and you go out together, 6 guys with spears. And when you come across the grizzly bear or a lion, you kill the lion. You kill the game. You go home with a fur coat and meat. That's how we operate. The family is the same thing. The family is a tribe. It's a commitment. It's a group. It's a network of commitments held together by language. Watch, when the language, and this is why language and understanding this idea of declaration in time, when your commitment inside a family dries up, the family will disappear. That's how powerful this stuff is. Families break up and disappear every day. Companies, when the commitment inside a company dries up, disappears, companies disappear. When the commitment inside countries dries up, countries disappear all the time throughout history, vanish. Why? Because the commitment to hold it together disappears. It's all language and action, right? It's all language, but without that commitment piece. So now you think about the customer looking for a place, for a vendor, somebody to help them, the employee looking for a place to land. They're looking to become part of a family.
Dan, why don't you show them the next slide? I want to show them a little bit about how commitment can affect the people applying for jobs with them. One of the things that we do as a company is collect a lot of data from the people that apply for our jobs. And one of the things we're really interested in is, how does our application process, which is a commitment-based one, affect how these people that apply for a job view our client? Mm-hmm. And so we ask them, hey, based on how the application process went, independent of if they got a job or not, does it make you more likely or less likely to do business with our clients? And we were expecting, to be honest, that there wouldn't be a lot of difference. Hey, I applied for a job. It really doesn't have an effect if I'm going to buy a product from this client or service a product. But actually what we found was, and we've got the numbers up on the screen there, that the applicants felt they were 66% said they definitely would or more likely to service with our client, their car or whatever product.
Okay.
That they would, 64% were more likely to buy a product or definitely will from our client just on their experience applying.
Nice.
68% said they were more likely to or definitely will refer somebody to one of our clients. And 71% said they would apply for the next opening that this company had based on how much they liked, the relationship building between our, what we call hiring ambassadors that do our interviews for us, and these applicants. And Dan, I know that you've seen a corresponding gain in your clients, which I think you've got on the next slide, with people growing their business and sales.
Oh, it's off the hook. What I like about this slide is that even if you don't hire somebody, they feel like they have a certain type of relationship with you if you handle it a particular way.
Most of the people that are took this survey were not hired. To be on, obviously, we run an ad that over 90% of the people don't get the job.
Right. Yeah.
And here, and Dan, you were sharing with me a particular client the other day, and that their appointment rate was at 72% for people calling in, which is just boggles my mind. I've been around dealerships for a long time. Why don't you talk about that for a minute?
Yeah, again, it's the journey of moving from being an information driven, price driven, data driven, inventory driven organization to one of being a commitment driven organization. We know that the customers calling into a dealership or calling into a tire company or calling in to the dental office, they ask for price all the time, but all they're really looking for is a commitment for someone knowledgeable and skilled to take care of them and a good price. So they're looking for a package deal. And when you give them that package deal of a fair price, it doesn't have to be the cheapest price. The cheapest price is when you're swimming on the beach in the crowded beach. That's where you're slogging it out over price. But 72%. I have individual salespeople closing at 90%, 85% of everybody that calls up because they deal with what the people are really calling about. They know now. Giving out a price and hoping that someone is going to say, yeah, I want to come in. That's one way to do it. But you give out a price, and I always tell people, how do you combat, customers that are price shopping? One thing you can say to them is, look, when you have a problem, right? I know you want to get a good price, Greg. You want a great price on this car or a set of tires or whatever you're shopping for. But if you have a problem, you try calling price. There's no commitment present in price. When you have a problem, you call me. I'm going to take care of you. That's the distinction. And it has to be communicated effectively. That's the challenge for business people is how do you teach your employees to communicate their commitment and mean it? That is the game. And when they do, the closing percentages go to 72%, sales go up 20%, 15% quickly, because that's the foundation for life and business and commerce is one of commitment.
It's funny that when our hiring ambassadors do a phone screening, a phone interview, you would think that the first thing that would come up is what are the benefits and how much does the job pay? Give me the data. And it's actually we don't sit and end up talking about that. We talk more about the type of company that they're getting into, the great things about the job, and we move towards relationship building. And this is why people are happy and enjoy the conversation. It almost becomes this story about the company, and that's really that's when you start committing to people and understanding them, as opposed to just barraging them with information, hoping that sells them or makes them take my job.
Right, exactly. Well, yeah, it's again, you guys are speaking from the commitment songbook, and when you do that effectively, as you can see with your numbers on the previous slide, I mean, it has a huge impact. And that's what this 72% rate. The other thing about closing percentage, now is switching back to the conversation of sales again, in the dealership world and, in the service environment, auto repair, tire dealers, et cetera. When your closing percentage is north of 72%, north of 70%, you as an owner operator don't really have to worry that your salespeople or service advisors are turning customers away inadvertently, right? They're making commitments to take care of people, so you can spend more money on advertising and marketing without fear that you're just, you're sending the money down the drain.
Hey, Dan, why don't you actually skip ahead a couple of slides? And this way we can kind of show the folks what it means to make a commitment, and what you're talking about with that, with an example of using language for that.
Yeah. So like this slide is what you're talking about?
Yes. Yeah, exactly. This one.
Yeah. So we go back to the President Kennedy Declaration. We choose to go to the moon. We choose to go to the moon, or the Declaration of Independence. This is how powerful this stuff is. Or Declaration of Marriage. I want to marry you. I want to live with you for the rest of my life. Right? How do you translate these powerful, powerful historical declarations? Thomas Jefferson, we're starting a new nation. When? Today. How do we translate that into business? Well, what I've come up with is this declaration. I can help you with that. I've trademarked it. It's a cornerstone of all our work. I can help you with that as a declaration. We can help you with that as a declaration. It's just the tip of a big iceberg of lots of different declarations that people can make. And when you combine this with a time element, Greg, I can help you with that. Yeah, you've called the right guy. Today is your lucky day, my friend. I'm going to take care of you right now. If you can come down right now, I can take care of you, or at 2 o'clock. Which would you prefer? So ultimately, what I do is I help companies become, I can help you with that companies, and help the people inside the companies become, I can help you with that people's. So I can help you that. I can help you with that individuals. And the beauty of this declaration is that you can use it anywhere in your life. At home, with your husband or wife, with your kids, on the job, with your coworkers, and of course with customers. Because ultimately, that's all anybody wants.
And that's our philosophy when we deal with people that apply for jobs, when they want to set up a phone interview. We let them know, hey, we can do that. When they want to go ahead and send us a new resume or anything that they want help with, it's the very first thing that any of my people talk about is how they're going to help them do it, not why they can't.
Yes. But the interesting thing I can help you with that is that, excuse me, is that what's happened over the past 60 years since we've been immersed in the information age is about that long, 50, 60 years, right? That people have been dumbed down. They no longer know how to make commitments by design. Don't know how to do it. And I measure that, and I so it can be taught, but we have to reteach them. People have to relearn it all over again, and it can be done. Greg, would you mind terribly if I go to and I show a picture of some of the people that we're working with wearing their "I can help you with that" shirts?
Sure. Yeah, go ahead.
Let me show you. Whoops, 1 second. Here we go. So this is a client out in Oklahoma, and this is every Friday they wear their "I can help you with that" shirts. And I just had a portal made by the shirt manufacturers so that our other clients will be able to order whatever shirts they want. Every Friday, these guys all show up in there. I can help you with that shirt. It's the whole company, 50, 60 people wearing the same shirts. Customers walk in and boom, game over. Now, just they have become a full-blown commitment-based organization, and their sales are up 21 points all of last year, and they're up 21 points in Q1 again this year. Off the hook. So I mean, this is how we make it real. It's very hard to tell a customer you can't help them when you're wearing that shirt. So this is how we've taken this declaration, this I can help you with that declaration, and actually build it into a whole branded identity for the company. Every word that comes out of everybody's mouth should be, look, I can help you. I'm going to take care of you, internally and externally. Whether you're recruiting or you're selling, doesn't matter. In my opinion, it works, and it's really powerful stuff.
Yeah, Dan, why don't we go to just the last slide, because I know we're getting towards the end here.
Yeah.
And one quick thing that I want to talk about, which is kind of a psychological term, which is transference. And it's also a physical term, that everything that we touch, that we transfer something to it. So based on how your company operates, based on how you interview, if you interview giving commitment and building relationship, when somebody comes on board, they come on board with that. When your leaders express their commitment to employees, it automatically transfers to clients, right? And you see these gears working. It's because one automatically moves the other.
Great analogy. Yep.
And it's all working together, and all this stuff transfers straight down the line. So it needs to be a company thing, right? The leaders need to be committed to the employees. The people interviewing need to be committed to the potential employees. And that's how the employees transfer that to the clients, right? And Dan gave you a very physical example with the shirts. But it also needs to be done verbally. It needs to be a feeling inside that company, that everybody understands that they're committed to one another, and that will transfer out. And then ultimately what happens, the clients commit back to the company. And that's when sales go up. That's when people get loyal to you. That's when you're able to fight off a down business out in your market and not lose any sales. It's because the people stay loyal to you. You don't lose them to anywhere.
Exactly. And we have ways of measuring that. Would you like me to share with Kelly how we measure that?
Sure. And then we can put up, our email addresses so that people can, ask for more information or ask us questions in particular.
Yeah, good. So these are phone calls coming into a business, right? The business is not important. This is real time happening probably today or yesterday, whatever. Green are conversations where the commitments were exchanged. Yellow are conversations where commitments were not exchanged. The ball is still in the air. We don't know what's happened there yet. So we listen to those calls a lot. Okay. How we measure this, here's a company that has not fully embraced the whole language of commitment. Right? And you can see here their closing percent right here is 59%. Employee close. So commitment's going to happen one of two ways. Either the employee is going to make a commitment or the customer is going to make a commitment. Two ways it happens. In this particular case, you can see the employees are making a commitment 1% of the time, right? Customers 56% of the time. It's normal. And over here is where we measure the actual act of making commitments. This is the declaration. I can help you with that. And this is the time element, 1 o'clock or 2 o'clock, choice close. It's happening a little bit here. Okay. So let me show you another company, right? These guys have not crossed the bridge yet. We're working on it with them. This company has crossed the bridge. They're well across the bridge. Their closing percent is 70% as a company. More importantly, on the employee side, they're 14%, and their customers are 56%. but they are making moves as a company. This is what a company that's growing 20% looks like. They're hitting the cover off the ball. The employees are making moves, and you can see down individual employees, 33%, 27%, 29%, 21%, 15%, 20%, boom. And so as a company, they are really just kicking it. Their tire unit sales for Q1, 20% up over last year. And they've been in business for 30 years selling tires in Oklahoma City. They're off the hook and they're killing it. You know, so they have become, I got lots of examples like that. But they have become a commitment-based organization, not just giving out prices, but making big commitments to take care of people, you know, so.
So Dan, why don't you go on to the last slide?
Sure.
And, you know, for those of you out there, Dan and I are more than happy to, and Dan will put our email addresses up. And we're more than happy to help you one-on-one if you want specific information for your company, have a question about your own process, happy to, you know, give you an evaluation inside your own company as for what you could be doing, obviously with no obligation to sell anything. You know, we